Michael, great to see you. You predicted last week this would end badly for Nuno. Did he bring it on himself then?
Good afternoon, Dave. Yeah, I think I look the way Nuno started the season. His press conference before the Brentford game, he spoke about the squad not being ready, not having the players in for all of pre-season. That went under the radar a little bit because they turned up for Brentford, beat them comfortably, and then a week later, before the Palace game, there was just uproar. And, I sat on Soccer Saturday after he did that press conference thinking it wasn't going to end well. They drew there and thinking, is he going to be in charge at West Ham? He was. So it prolonged the inevitable, really, for me. What happened late last night, I wake up to the news. You see the pair of them in the picture there. As a manager for Nuno, that is the last thing you ever want to experience. I was at that game, the draw against Leicester. He comes on, he shows his frustration with the injury to Iwobi. But that sort of undermines the manager. When Nuno came out and talked about the relationship had broken down, I did say it was only going to end one way. And then we see the news last night, and it happened that Nuno's been sacked after everything he's done for the football club. When Steve Cooper left the club, the fans who he was adored by, Nuno came in and did a fantastic job keeping them in the Premier League. And then what they did last year was remarkable. Yes, people might look at it and go, they fell off towards the end and missed out on Champions League. To finish seventh and be in Europe for the first time in over 30 years is remarkable for Nottingham Forest. But ultimately, new chapter with Ange Postecoglou going in this morning.
Yeah, just wondered, Michael, how big an achievement that was, given, you played at Forest for a number of years. Seventh Europa League football, everything they achieved last year. They were third for large parts of the season. Just put it into perspective and context for us, just how impressive a season that was for Forest and what Nuno achieved.
It was an incredible season, and the achievement that they got. You start the season, could you see them being in a European place and being in it this year? No, not from my point of view. But I think probably when they look back, and Nuno spoke about it, a little bit of disappointment because they'd been in that Champions League position for so long throughout the season, then fell off towards the end. But I still saw it as a huge positive. I sat on Sky Sports News every Tuesday last year and talked about what a great job he was doing, the way the players were playing. But I think that group of players were certainly playing to their max potential. And maybe in the summer, Nuno wanted some of his own players. He didn't get them. Was it the recruitment that he wasn't happy with? You look at his Europa League squad. He leaves Zinchenko, leaves Amari Hutchinson out, and you just think, strange, big signings for Nottingham Forest, not even in the Europa League squad. So you could see there was unrest there. And like I've said earlier, it was inevitable. This was going to be the outcome for me.
Yeah, Evangelos Marinakis said he's deeply hurt and angered by Nuno speaking out twice against him. You spent 3 years under Marinakis at Forest. What was he like to work with?
Well, he was very demanding. He tried when I was there to get to the Premier League. His focus and aim was to achieve that. And he did that under Steve Cooper. He was never going to just rest there and go, we're in the Premier League. He spent money and he put his money where his mouth is. He said he wanted to bring success back to the football club. And he's done that. 2 seasons they were fighting relegation. Next season they finished 7th. And he wants more. Is it unrealistic? This guy just goes to the top. He's demanding you don't cross him. And he spoke about feeling hurt by what Nuno had spoke at there, Marinakis. But my dealings with him was always very open, very honest, and he laid it out of what he demanded from you.
OK, let's move forwards then. Ange back in the Premier League. Is this good news? I guess it's good news for him. Is it good news for Forest too?
It's 2 completely different managers of style of play. Another one of my old clubs last year, Ange, been in the helm at Tottenham Hotspur for nearly, it was 2 years. His first season was very, very good, finishing 5th. And then last year was an absolutely disastrous Premier League campaign. However, he brought a trophy that he'd been many, many years. So, is he going to adapt? I don't see Ange Postecoglou adapting his style of play. We didn't see while he was at Tottenham Hotspur. All right, people say maybe he adapted in the final. He had to because there was different ways of winning. And he left the football club bringing a trophy to Tottenham Hotspur. But I just think the way Nuno had this team set up was perfect. I mean, the two centre-backs, Murillo and Milenkovic, got so many plaudits from everyone outside the football club last year, the way they defended. But I just think they defended the edge of the box. Milenkovic headed everything. Is he going to be the centre-half, him and Murillo, who can defend on the halfway line, the 2v2, get exposed? I mean, only time will tell, because I don't see Ange changing his philosophy, because he didn't change at Celtic. I mean, I think he went away in the Champions League and got beat heavily. It might have been Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. I can't quite remember which one. But he didn't change. His philosophy is we go out all attack. And I certainly expect him to go and try and do that with Nottingham Forest. You know, he was exciting. He brought exciting football in his first season at Spurs. But ultimately, you're in this game to win football matches. Elanga obviously left the football club and went to Newcastle. But you've got Dan and Doy. You've got Callum Hudson-Odoi, players that can play on the counter-attack. Mo Gibbs-White, so influential the way this Nottingham Forest team play. Elliot Anderson we saw for England on Saturday. Big fan of these players, and these players now are going to have to try and adapt to a different way of playing under Ange. But I spoke so highly of him when he was at Tottenham, and I wish him all the best at one of my former clubs in Nottingham Forest again.
I mean, the big thing, is, as you've really touched upon there, Michael, is this kind of clash of styles between Nuno and Ange and the way they go about their business. You mentioned some of the players there and the way they like to play on the counter-attack. I guess the question is, do they have the players to play Ange ball, for want of a better word? And as a centre-half yourself, if you're used to playing on the edge of your box, how difficult is it, thinking of Murillo and Milenkovic, and speaking as a Forest fan, how difficult is it going to be to see them on the halfway line with balls being clipped in behind them that they've got to run back for?
Yeah, it's going to be a different challenge, you know, and it's going to take time for these players to adapt, because they did it in a certain way under Steve Cooper. I know there's been an awful lot of players in that time, a change of personnel, and then Nuno for the last 21 months have played in this low block. Not an awful lot of possession, which you see in the graphics here. Completely different contrast to the Tottenham Hotspur team. In every aspect, it was completely different. So I think these players are top players, good players, and they have to adapt because otherwise they're really going to struggle to be able to deal with these demands of Ange in European nights and in the Premier League. But they've got a squad there that is big enough to certainly capable. I think some of the recruitment has been very, very, very good. Big fan of Amari Hutchin, big fan of McAtee. So players who've come in. You know, it's a change for them so quick in there. Nottingham Forest, time to have a new manager in the helm.
Yeah, you seem to suggest earlier, Michael, that you think that Ange won't change his approach, that he's not going to be especially flexible. You know, the famous kind of "that's the way we play" mate kind of comments. But do you think, having the experience at Spurs, he might now reflect on his time with a little bit of distance that's passed and think, actually, I do need a plan B?
Maybe. However, he didn't when he came from Celtic to Tottenham. That he didn't adapt then. So it makes me think, why would you ever change when you've had that success? And he'll say, well, he's 17th success. No, but he won a European trophy, won everything up at Celtic. So it's going to be interesting to see how he goes about it. We talk about Ruben Amorim when he came in. How did he get the Manchester United job? With a 3-4-3. He didn't change. But I think there's times in the Premier League you have to adapt who you're going to be playing against. You can't play in the same way against a Liverpool against a lesser team in the Premier League. You have to be adaptable, in my opinion, because we know if you're in this industry, the only outcome is winning football matches. And if you don't, and you don't change maybe the way you think you want to play, that's when people start questioning. And, you know, Ange's in the hot seat. He will do it his way. He didn't change at Spurs, so it makes me think, why will he really change it at Nottingham Forest?
Ange said famously that he wins trophies in his second season. This, of course, is going to be his first season at Forest. But can you see him winning anything with Forest?
Well, it was the famous quote last year, wasn't it, that came out of Tottenham Hotspur, and he certainly shut up an awful lot of people because it brought pressure. Because the league position wasn't good enough, but he brought a trophy after 17 years it was. It was a long time. So, yeah, I mean, why can't they go on and win a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup? I mean, the team is a really good team, and You see Crystal Palace last year. Why can't it be Nottingham Forest this season or next season with Ange Postecoglou? Because he's, like he says, he's done it in his second season all the time.
I'm pleased you said that, Dawson. Excellent. Now, his first match, of course, will be against Arsenal at the weekend. I think a lot of us thought that maybe whoever Marinakis got in, they might bring him in after the Arsenal game, because not a lot of managers will probably relish that one first up. You get the feeling, though, that Postecoglou, you mentioned he hasn't beaten Arsenal yet, he might relish this one, though, but they don't get a lot tougher, Arsenal at the Emirates.
Do you know what? I like that from Ange Postecoglou. He could quite easily go, we're going to the Emirates, it's going to be a tough game, but I think he'll relish it. Managing Spurs on many occasions, they're very hostile. He could quite easily go, look, I won't take the team, I'll sit up in the stands. No, he's getting down to the nitty-gritty and going, I'll take this challenge on, I'll go there, and I'll try and put a team together that compete with this Arsenal team. I like that. Managers don't, when they see it go through the door. It's a tough place to go, hard game. I'll sit back, but no, he takes it on board. He never shirked away from anything. He never did it at Spurs last year when the going got tough. And he'll go through challenges at Nottingham Forest. But like I said earlier, one of my old teams, manager who I really like. I wish him all the best.
What would a successful season for Forest look like, given they far exceeded expectations last year? A lot of those fans, the trouble with a season like last year is the bar of expectation rises. With everything that's been going on in the last few weeks, what for you would constitute a good season for them?
I think a top 10 finish. Again, obviously 7th last year, but if they can have a good run in Europe, which the Nottingham Forest fans are magnificent. Look, I grew up being a Forest fan, sitting in the Trent end, and it's a place that they have to rally this team, which I've always said any team that gets promoted needs to do that, and they did that for the first 2 seasons. You can't get carried away with what happened last year. They have to try and have a good European run, and a top 10 finish for me would be a success. Whether the owner thinks that might be a different story.
Michael Dawson, always a pleasure. Thanks very much for your time this afternoon on Lunchtime Live.